A few months ago I started an experiment to see whether I could successfully grow Aeonium just from leaf. I've used 11 different cultivars and took leaves off throughout their growing season. Here in Australia, Aeonium start growing from round about April and go dormant again in October or November. I've tried a few different methods just to cover all bases. Some leaves were left sitting in a greenhouse in empty trays. I've then put a few on top of potting mix and some trays were covered with plastic to keep the moisture in. It's now been around 5 months since I took the first leaves off, and I have to say one of the results have surprised me a lot. Before we start, I'd like to acknowledge that these results may not be the norm for absolutely everyone. I have a suspicion that our climate may be a little bit too hot for raising Aeonium from leaf. In cooler climates, the leaves may be able to grow better. Apart from one of the cultivars, the results were consistent with my previous attempt and exactly what I thought they would be. And that surprising plant was Aeonium sunburst. Out of all the leaves I collected from different sunburst plants, I only had one leaf baby. Quite a few of the leaves did shoot out roots, but even after planting, they eventually died. So I only had one leaf baby, and to my surprise, it also kept its variegation. This is pretty amazing because most variegated plants tend to revert back to the original even when variegation is quite stable. A few of the other leaves that I never had success with, such as Aeonium arboreum or Aeonium Schwarzkopf, also grew roots but never any leaves even after being planted. Then I had a few expected leaf babies on Aeonium kiwi, haworthi and tabuliforme. I knew these would come up as I've had them do so many times before, but I ran into a familiar problem. The kiwi and haworthi leaf babies took a long time to establish. Now they are going dormant and only have a couple of roots each, so we're yet to see if they survive till autumn. Despite planting them as soon as the new heads emerged, they didn't grow any further than this. I suspect they may just not have had enough cold time to get going. It got very warm very fast this spring and we had temperatures well over 30 degrees Celsius or 86 Fahrenheit a few days into spring. This may have stunted the growth a bit, however, I've had quite a few Aeonium cuttings growing very well at the same time. I guess we shall see how they go until their next growing season. In the past, I've outright said that Aeonium don't really propagate from leaves, and I've since learned to not really make statements like that. Today I'd say it may be possible but definitely not very easy. And it may well depend on where in the world you are. While I did have a few leaf babies and they are somewhat growing, I would not call it a great success. It will take over a year to get any decent sized plants, and I definitely recommend cuttings over leaf when it comes to Aeonium. The sunburst really did surprise me, but it was just one leaf baby out of over 50 leaves in total. I've also had a few emails from people that saw the initial video and they've all said no leaf babies grew for them either. The people that sent emails were from Canada, the US and Spain, a good mix. So to conclude, yes, you can propagate Aeonium from leaf, but it's very difficult for most cultivars and not really worth it. It's slow, unreliable and the overall success rate is pretty low. It's much better to wait for offsets or to behead in order to force offset growth. And that is that. If you would still like to submit your results, you can do so. I'll put the email address into the comments below. If any of you will have different results to mine, I will publish an update. I hope this video was useful, and if you'd like to add anything or would like to ask a question, you can do so in the comments below. To learn more about succulents, hit the subscribe button or go to succulentgrowingtips.com. Thank you so very much for watching.